All right, room two, time for social studies. We're talking about the past. That's called history, what's already happened. I'm going to go ahead and read from my big book, the one you don't have. You've got the Inquiry Journal, which you will use. So I'm going to go ahead now and read like we do during story time. And I'm going to go ahead and start here now with lesson two. And it says, how has school changed? And that's pretty good because we are part of a school, Ivanhoe, even though we're learning at home now. Okay, I'm going to read for you. Please pay attention as always, and I am keeping track. Lesson 2, how has school changed? Look at the picture. Students long ago. These are boys and girls that lived in America a long time ago. Their school had only one room. All the students from all the grades studied there together. Can you imagine that? From maybe first grade to eighth grade? That's how my dad went to school back in Pennsylvania. And it says again, their school desks were made from wood. Okay. They sat on benches. They carried their lunch to school in pails, usually. The teacher rang the bell when recess was over. Then the students went back inside the one-room schoolhouse. Well, we have recess too. Okay, that's cool. And it says here under the picture, the caption says, students of all ages learned in one school room. That's pretty good. Wow. Okay, next page. It says, a day in the life. Look at the pails, look at the bell. It says, this is a school bell from long ago. The teacher shook the bell to make it ring loudly. Ding, 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 ding. The bell let the students know it was time to learn. Well, that's when we finish like snack, we finish lunch, and it goes ding, ding, ding. Same thing. And it says, these are lunch pails from long ago. Students kept their lunch pails in the classroom. The teacher told students when it was time to eat lunch. Okay, and pretty much everybody was able to bring their own lunch. Even if you were poor, were still able to bring something in a pail. A lot of people lived on farms, like my dad. My dad used to bring his lunch just like that. And actually, I used to have something very similar to that. And it was from a Cuban store, because a lot of times when Cuban workers would go to work, they would bring a pail like this, and it actually had another couple levels inside to separate your food. Pretty nifty. Okay, next page. And again, this is the book that you don't have at home, but that's okay. Now it says, tools for school, then and now. Long ago, students used different tools to learn. One tool was the abacus. The abacus helped them count. Students moved the beads to add and subtract. Today, students use a calculator. We don't do that in first grade, but nonetheless, we do have an abacus somewhere in our classroom. We've got to see if we can find that. Then it says, look at the chalk and slate. Long ago, students used the chalk and slate to write. They used to take notes on the slate. Today, students write on a computer. Well, to a certain degree, yeah. Now, my dad also used to use this, and actually they would use, believe it or not, coal. I'm not sure how that worked. My dad said because he came from a coal mining farming region in Pennsylvania, they said they would use actually coal somehow for writing. I'm not sure. But it says right here, in the past, students used a slate with chalk as a notebook. Okay? And we still sometimes use chalkboards, except ours has a whiteboard now. What can I say? Now, the next page says, long ago, students read on a horn book. Isn't that kind of odd? This tool was a wooden board with a piece of paper. The paper had things to read on it. A horn book had a handle. This handle could hang from a student's belt. Wow. Today, students can read on computers. So this would hang on your belt? That's kind of odd. It says this is what a horn book looked like. And it's too small for me to read. I mean, what can I say? But the point is, they used to have all kind of different things that they would use for reading. Definitely. Sometimes they would even use the Bible to teach how to print your letters, believe it or not. So they use a lot of different things. Here it says, students today take notes and look at school books and computers, which we kind of do, right, normally? And it says, stop and check, talk. Well, we can't really talk, but would you like to use any of the school tools from long ago? Why or why not? Well, that's a pretty good question. You can think about that. I'm not sure if you want to use that, but that looks pretty interesting. This, kind of staying away from that anyway, but that looks, I kind of like that. Pretty good. Okay, so let's go ahead and next page from the big red book you don't have, but I have it. And it says, recess then and now. Oh, look at that. It says, long ago students had recess. Recess is a short time when students can stop working. That's true. Children played together outside. They took turns playing ball and going down the slide. Recess was a way to have fun in between lessons. That's pretty good. It says, this is recess long ago. To me, it looks around 1910 or so. You can see the dresses and like that. I think this is just a girls' playground. In those days, very often, not always, girls played on one side of the field and boys played on the other. Believe it or not, when I was in first grade, we still did that. Yeah, we still did that. The boys were not allowed to go ahead and to play on the girls' side. And I remember my friend and I, because we wanted to look at the girls, we went ahead and we almost got in trouble, sort of, because we were going towards where the girls used to play. And that's the way it was years ago. And we see here, basically, it says, this is recess today. So they got a play structure like we do. Okay, next page, as Mr. B reads, it says, today, students play at recess too. Sometimes they play games in the schoolyard. They can climb and jump and slide. When recess is over, students go back to their classrooms. Yeah, it kind of makes sense. That's what we do. Now, in this box it says then and now. Baseball. Yep. Baseball is a game that children played a long time ago. They played it at recess. Sometimes they used a stick instead of a bat. Children still love to play baseball. They can still play it at recess today. Now, at our school, we don't have baseball for recess, maybe after school. We used to play that after school when I was a boy. And it says under the old photograph, these children are playing stickball at recess long ago. And here it says, these children are playing baseball at recess today. And there you go. Now at the bottom it says stop and check. It says think. How is baseball at recess today and long ago the same? Well, I mean, you can think about that. Of course, we don't play, baseball at our school during recess, but after school, I think it's pretty much the same, except we don't use a stick. Okay. And then it says, what do you think? Why is recess important? Well, think about that. Why is recess important? Think about it. I'm waiting. Think about it. Why is recess important? Okay. Well, I think it's important because you get a chance to go ahead and run and play, which you need to do a lot when you're a boy or a girl. Plus, you get a chance to eat something. And plus, you need a break in between studies. I would say that. Now, maybe you said the same thing. If you did, congratulations. And let's do one more over here. Again, from my book, as Mr. B reads only. And it says, citizenship, rules and manners. Students have always followed school rules. Over time, some rules changed, but other rules stayed the same. Long ago, students learned in the same classroom. These students were different ages, but they all followed the same rules. Oops. Today, students follow rules too. They line up. They listen quietly to their teacher. Some teachers let their students help make the rules. School rules have always been important. Yeah, they have been. We've got our own classroom goals, like be kind, okay, raise your hand when you want to speak, etc. In the old picture, it says, students stand outside their school long ago. One-room schoolhouse. And the good thing about a one-room schoolhouse was that, when it was your turn to just do your work and the teacher taught another grade, you could listen to her, okay? And you could actually get what the older kids were learning. My dad told me that if he was doing his work, he might stop and listen. He goes, oh, I know what they're doing in that grade now. Pretty smart. Here it says, students today line up and listen to the teacher. That's right. You know that one. Now, last page of my book. It says, students work together in their classroom. Students raise their hands to answer a question. They take turns talking. They listen to each other. Then the class learns a lot together. Exactly. There are rules outside the classroom too. Students listen to the crossing guard. Yep, they follow her instructions, or his, to stay safe. Following the rules keeps us safe. This picture is captioned, students raise their hands. That's right. And this one says, students listen to the crossing guard. That's right. Need to do that to be safe. And it says, stop and check. What rules do students follow in their schools? All you got to do is think of our class goals. That's all you got to do, 1 through 5. And it says here, what do you think? Why do you think it is important to follow school rules? We've talked about that, haven't we, boys and girls? And what have we said? Well, because we have these class goals, because it makes it easier for us to learn. If someone raises his or her hand, he or she doesn't interrupt somebody else, right? He or she gets a turn to talk. If you keep your hands to yourself, then you're not bothering somebody who wants to use his or her brain and learn and contribute to the class. So it's very important in that sense. Okay, anyway, I'm going to stop this right now. You're going to go ahead and get ready to get your inquiry books. We're going to break this into 2 parts because last time I think it was kind of long. Okay, we'll just do that. So make sure you get your social studies inquiry books out. I shall meet you here pretty soon.